Greetings, punks, goths, metalheads, herberts, herbetters, Martians and subterranean folk. How are you all doing? My name's John and this is the Health Anarchist channel. Well, today it's going to be a story time video and I'm going to be telling you two stories because I've had quite a lot of people ask me and question me when I've been out walking and I said there's old tales about these places of what used to happen. So I'll tell you those tales, what I know anyway, today. So the stories I'm going to tell you about are mainly from this book here. And that's The Folklore of Tameside, Myths and Legends by John Walker and Michael Neville. So I'm just enjoying this lovely, comfortable jumper today. Now, I got this recently from Killstar because I won a voucher from a lovely Swedish goth YouTuber called Sunnies. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'll just show you a bit more of this jumper now so you can see it. So yeah, I love it. It'll be great in the colder months and it matches everything that I've got colour wise. So yeah, it's a winner. So thanks again. So this video today, the stories that I'm telling you, it also links into a place locally hundreds of years ago and more that was known as Longdendale Forest. Now, it's mainly gone now, but recently I found out that there's still a fair bit of it that exists, so I'm going to be visiting that on a future walk and I'm going to bring you guys with me. And it might be a bit spooky with all these old tales about it, so yeah, looking forward to exploring that one. So let's get into the stories here. So we'll start off with the first story now. Now this story I've mentioned sometimes when I've been at Wild Bank via Gallows Cloth. I've talked about this story that happened there. So this is the story as I read it in the book. So, during the 17th century, a man was caught stealing deer in Longdendale. He was hanged at Gallows Cloth. And one of his hands was cut off by the steward. Despite pleas for clemency to the steward by his wife, they still went ahead with it. During the execution and afterwards, she stood by the gallows clutching a baby, which unfortunately died during the vigil. It's a pretty grim place up there weather-wise, so it's not the place you want to be bringing a baby. So if we talk about this a bit here, in times gone by, you know, people were really poor and some of them had to hunt deer and poach as such to survive. So this poor guy had been caught poaching and he was executed for it because the nobles claimed the rights to all the forests and all the wildlife in them. So yeah, that's really sad that he was hung for basically trying to stay alive and eat. So shortly after this, a witch arrived on the scene. And she was intent on robbing the dead man's body of its fat, which was a much prized ingredient in her spells. The widow and the witch soon struck up a friendship and hatched a plan of revenge on the steward. So what happened basically here is a witch turned up, and I've already read in other sources that the widow was driven half mad by grief at this point and struck up a friendship, which is odd seeing as the witch wanted to take stuff from a dead husband's body. But if she was in a strange state of grief and mainly losing her mind at the time, and maybe that's why. But anyway, they agreed on a course of revenge to take. So a few days later, the steward's newborn baby son disappeared. And shortly afterwards, the body of a baby was found in the local forest. Its face eaten away by rats. However, the steward's baby had actually really been stolen by the widow and the witch. And it was the body of the widow's child that had been found. The steward, believing his child dead, became even more ruthless and tyrannical in his rule of Longdendale. Now the steward's baby was brought up in secret by the witch and the widow, and the child grew up not knowing his true parentage. When he was old enough, he became an outlaw, egged on by the witch and the widow, and on many occasions he stole property from the steward. Finally, he was deliberately betrayed by the witch to the steward, who arrested the young man and hung him at Gallows Cloth. As he swung on the gallows, the witch and the widow stood by, laughing uncontrollably. Afterwards, they told the steward it was his own son that he had hung. The steward dropped down dead on the spot with horror, whereupon the young woman poisoned herself and the witch vanished. Throughout its history, the lordship of Longdendale has been run by stewards, since the lords were usually rich landowners from central Cheshire and Yorkshire. Something I'd like to add that I've read in a different version of this is the steward didn't actually cut the widow's husband's hand off. That was actually done by the witch after he died, because she wanted to take the widow's husband's hand, because the hand from a hanged man could be used in a powerful spell known as the Hand of Glory. And in another version of the tale, I've heard the whole area of Gallows Cloth was very frightening, and it was avoided by travellers. They tried to give it a wide berth because they could hear the howls and cackles of witches as they performed diabolical rituals amongst the corpses of the dead. So that was another version I've heard. So I hope you enjoyed that story. That's local folklore for you. And I forgot to say before, I tried something new this week. Now my daughter got me as one of my Christmas presents this corpse mask, face mask, which is good for your skin. So I'll just show you that now. So I've got this face mask from VE Cosmetics. It's called Relax Sweet Demon, and it's a corpse paint face mask, self-care for the metal AF, and it's cruelty free and vegan. And I've never had anything like this before. I've never tried anything like this before, but because my daughter's into makeup and beauty and all this sort of thing, she got me this for Christmas as one of my gifts. So I'll just show it you close up. So it's pretty cool. So without further ado, I'll go and try it. So this is with a mask on. It's literally dripping with grave slime, which is great for your skin, and it's metal AF. So that story I've just told you ties into the Longdendale forest, with the poaching happening in Longdendale forest and the steward finding what he thought was his baby son dead in Longdendale forest. Now I've got another tale that ties into Longdendale forest. This is the Werewolf of Longdendale. Now, you might have heard me talk before about werewolves and about the farmer who told me a story about the werewolf at Hardshead Pike that used to be called Wolf's Head Pike. And you might have heard me talk about that there was a modern sighting, which I did give the link on YouTube, that a strange wolf-like creature was seen up at Hartshead Pike. Now, we seem to have a theme with werewolves in Longdendale. So this is the second story, and this one's about werewolves, and this is from the same book. The Werewolf of Longdendale. The wilderness of Longdendale Forest during the medieval period is emphasised by a story set during the reign of Henry II. Some villagers were being terrorised by a werewolf, and they appealed to their lord, the abbot of Basingwork. He cursed the werewolf to stay in its present form, whether it was a wolf or a person, which is strange, isn't it? that an abbot was sending out curses. But there you go. And the hunting party was formed at once to set out to go after it. Now this party included King Henry II, his son Prince Henry, the Lord of Longdendale, who was probably William de Neville, and the Duke of Ashton. So you've got all these sort of noble, wealthy characters on this hunt. The prince, however, became separated from the other hunters in the forest and was attacked by the werewolf. Plunging his spear deep into its side, the prince heard a human shriek of pain, so not an animal, a human shriek of pain. Despite this injury, the werewolf brought the prince to the ground. So even though it was mortally wounded, it just tells you how ferocious these creatures were. It still threw the prince to the ground. And it would have killed him if not for the timely arrival of the Duke of Ashton. Once the werewolf was dead, it was cut up and the werewolf's stomach was opened, and inside it was found to contain the heads of 3 babies that it had eaten that morning. Afterwards, a forester reported that he had seen the werewolf earlier in a glade tearing at its own skin as if it desired to throw it off. It screamed and moaned piteously, sounding to the forester like a woman's voice. So that's the other written story of a werewolf in the area. Now, the southern side of Longdendale Valley was part of the Royal Forest of the High Peak from the 11th century until 1536. So I hope you enjoyed those stories. I'm really looking forward to finding the remains of this forest in a future video and having a walk round in it, and I'm going to bring you guys with me when I check it out. So I hope you enjoyed this video today. If you did enjoy it, please don't forget to give us a like and a subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you very soon. Take care now. Bye.